Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Howdy, 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 and welcome to the iGPFun Formula 3 series presented by SRP here at lovely Oulton Park Circuit. I am Austin, and I'm joined by Sebastian Bosher-Williams with Mark Tranter in the production booth that you're here live watching Apex Racing TV.
Yeah, we swapped the desert hills of the west coast of America, and we've gone for a little bit of a different vibe here at Oulton Park, one of my favourite circuits of all time. Such a complex, tricky circuit, and we have, in my opinion, the best layout of of the circuit is that's Andy Flint really tripping me up by taking the line that is not part of the circuit. That's a very different layout, but we've got the Oulton Park layout. We've got no chicane, so it's all about slipstream. It's all about the excitement. And at the moment, we have a new name at the top of the timing stands. Connor Wagner is your current pole sitter. Jerome Lamy second, Nicholas Westman third, and Lee Ho Ying Long is in fourth place at number 37. He's having a really good showing as well. Actually, two Americans in the top four. That's sort of the highest sort of rates that we've seen. As there's another huge accident, Austin. We're seeing many drivers really start to push the track limits at the moment, and they're certainly coming off worse.
Yeah, there is a lot of track extension here, and the Oulton Park is very famous for a lot of drivers expanding the track and going for those small gaps and really trying to extend it. The last corners, especially here, the car will want to rotate around you. We've seen a lot of incidents happen right there, and also heading down to turn 2. Those incidents have been very, very crazy as we ride on board of Adam Tasman through that final corner. You see the amount of tire wear going from the left side of the track to the right side. Well, that's everybody getting a wheel into the grass on the outside and losing the back end. But qualifying is just ending here. And yeah, we go from the desert hills of Sonoma to the soon-to-be desert hills of Oulton Park. But luckily we have the grass scan here on iRacing. But, you know, in real life, it's about to reach 40 degrees there or something.
Low blow, Austin. That was a low blow. Yeah,
low-hanging fruit. It was
low-hanging fruit. It was, and it's going to be awful. Condolences to everybody in the UK. It's going to be pretty awful. Yeah, thank you very much, Austin. Thank you. Thanks for the moral support. Will McIntyre Jones, talking of people needing a little bit of moral support, Will McIntyre Jones in 20th place. Adam Talsma in 18th.
Adam Talsma's taking the wrong layout. He took the chicane where we don't have a chicane. Is he going to take this chicane? He was slowing down like he was.
Sorry, Austin. Yeah, we've seen many drivers do that today. I think it's sort of the easy way just to get out of the way, and maybe you might want to practice your braking zones. But here is your grid. Austin, take us away.
Connor Wagner will be starting up on pole position, followed by Jerome Lamley, Nicholas Westman, Lee Ho Yin Lung, Lucas Maruk, Rodrigo Duran, Sam Hermer, Giacomo Morguai, Alessandro Romanelli, Andy Flint, Clark Williams, and Tony Jimenez is your top 12. They're followed by Alejandro Lado, Darren Rollinson, Tibu Time in 15th, Alistair Hay, Alvaro Marinero, Adam Talsma, Phil Waller, Will McIntyre Jones, Zoltan Zomer, Christian Glamson, and Richard Van Veen, Robert Ridgway in 24th. They're followed by Stu Mill, Potapenko in 26th, Nick Cardicucci Aito, Clemens Punzegruber, Simon Gabriel, Frankie is at 31st, while Reed Dennis, Stephen Ritters, Matthew Gracie, Patrick Rollins, and Keanu Richie Robinson in 36th place. Our final four cars are Ben Goyetti, Patrick Olson, Bill Searneck, and Colin Nicole at the end of our grid, and the only driver. Everybody did do a time. Everybody did do a qualifying time here today at Oulton Park for the iGPFun Formula 3 Series presented by SRP Sim Racing Pro. Thank you, SRP, for all the support that you give in supporting this wonderful league. It has been going on for years and years and years, and I think it's still got years and years and years to go.
It's one of the best leagues. It's always the highlight of my week commentating on the iGPFun series. Always good racing, clean racing as well. We've got a 40-car grid here, the maximum allowed at Oulton Park. It's going to be absolute carnages. We get ready to go racing.
Yeah, it's time to get ready to rock and roll as we go green, green, green. Lucas Maruk had a slow start off the line. He actually hesitated just a little bit, and he's going to be following to everybody else, but iGPFun rules everyone's going to be going too wide and not going to try to go for any crazy moves heading into the first few corners, especially the first lap here, because it can get extremely tight as everybody's just going side by side down the hill through turns 1 and 2 and 3. Just watching the off tracks right now. But very clean start by everybody. I think only about 2 X's were had of this driver just setting the track. But up top, it's Connor Wagner leading out Adam Tassel. Well, as soon as I said that, oh, we've got a big crash. Cars in the wall, 2 cars in the wall in the grass. Tasma and Alvaro Marinero. And I believe that was at the kink where this has happened. Let's watch Adam Tasma with that Racing Forces number 7. He's just following one of the cars ahead of him, one of the car ahead of him. I think it was just weaving, trying to warm up the tires, and oh, he's just didn't leave. Just got right up in the bumper, and once they got onto the grass, it ended up like Formula E race in the rain at New York, where they just went flying off into the wall, and nothing they could do about that to avoid that one, as they head up underneath the car loop sign and into that final corner, and one car going wide. That's Lucas Baruch in the grass.
Championship leader having a mistake. He's down to 10th place, looking like he's going to lose more positions as well. Jimenez is right on his tail, although he's seen off that challenge. Not the start that Lucas would have wanted. That's Murgia going a little bit wide at turn 1. So easy to pick up a 1x on the outside of turn 1. Wow, that's Timu almost making contact with Jimenez up ahead. He's all over the shop. Just manages to collect up all forms of oversteer that he had in the car. As we head through the kink for the second time. Unfortunate accident that we saw. Also, it looks like Reed Dennis, Alvaro Minero, Matthew Gracie, and Alejandro Luedo are in the pit. So some really big names there having issues around here at Oulton Park, but I think with the level of attrition that we're seeing so far, we're going to see even more happening. This is Lohi Young. Sorry. Oh, touching. That's going to be a Nickelbrook. That's round. That's round. Disaster for Duran. Absolute disaster.
Yeah, we're going to go Duran off in the wall and probably finding where those Nickelbrocks are located.
I mean, why don't we talk about Nickelbrook corner? It's a very interesting story. Actually, let's not talk about it yet, because this is how Jerome Lamy, he started in 2nd place. He's moving up into 1st place, Austin. So this is on the opening lap. As soon as Jerome Lamy had the opportunity to overtake, he was allowed in the rules to overtake. Jerome Lamy absolutely seized upon that, heading to Nickelbrook now, and he's made the position. He's currently leading Connor Wagner by about 6 seconds a second at the moment.
Yeah, it's a very good race for Jerome Lamy to take off that lead and start to build that gap on Wagner, as everybody, I feel like, is just focusing on the track limits around here, because this track is one of the more infamous tracks on iRacing, on the easiest to get an off track here, as everybody's just trying to stay in that straight line and find that opportunity to overtake. Very hard to make an overtake work around here, so you're going to be pressuring the driver in front of you to be making a mistake, and pressuring is right now, as Giacomo and Lee Ho-Yin Lung are side by side. Lung on the inside, and oh, they touched before the corner, and he's been hooked around. Giacomo's been hooked around. It's a horrible rejoin. Andy Flint, instant party in that. Hermer's in the wall, Murgia in the wall, and Flint in the wall.
Humongous accident here at Oulton Park, one of the biggest that I think we've had all season long. Let's have a look at the replay and try and decipher what has gone on. This is Rodrigo Duran.
I think it was just Duran.
So Rodrigo Duran has had his own. No, he's had his own incident here. Oh, and he's going to be unfortunate.
He's hit the wall right there. And we saw Duran have his own incident early. That's the 2nd incident we've seen right there. Lee Ho-Yin Lung is still carrying on.
I don't think he has much damage. I think it was very light contact between him and the other driver. And I think that he sort of managed to escape quite easily. I mean, he's lost a lot of time to Nicholas Westman. The gap is now about 3 or so seconds. But he's got a nice buffer to Romanelli at the moment. So Leo Ho-Ying Lung is looking really good. Apparently he had an issue at the start of the race. I think he had a slow getaway, maybe a little bit of contact there, but his race is really going okay. It's the drivers behind him involved in that.
It was going pretty okay, though. With that incident, I'm pretty sure the drivers that have been racing around him, I'm not going to be saying that was an okay move, as it was pretty. We're going to get a replay of that issue right here. This is the issue they have. We see Giacomo going around the outside. What does Liho do right here? And oh, he's just crossed over on him. He just turned left like he wasn't there. And then it's the worst rejoin I've ever seen. And there's a car flipping in the air. That's Hermer out of nowhere. I think Hermer, I don't know what happened to Hermer. Did Hermer just like see it, just drive it into the grass to try to avoid?
Let's have a look and see Sam Hermo. Haven't seen him on the grid for a few.
Oh, Lee.
Oh, so
okay.
he's
Well,
just distracted.
he's just gone extremely wide. I think that might have been netcode in there as well, as 4 cars involved in that. Well, 5 cars involved in that issue, and only 1 exited out there, and that would be Lee Ho Yin Long.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Like from the replay angle that we saw, I'm not sure if they sort of drifted towards each other, or whether it was Lung's fault, or was it, you know, it was
Lung's fault.
But I mean, it looked like there was movement from both cars there, so I wouldn't want to be assured at all, especially with these huge accidents. But you know, Mugger needs to take some responsibility for that rejoin. Yes, he was on the grass, but it didn't look like he was really doing a lot to arrest any form of slide. As Phil Waller and Glamsetter battling it out through Knickerbook. Waller ahead of Glamsetter. Glamsetter not happy about that, trying to immediately get the place back. They're going to go side by side.
Oh, this is a good look for the 18. 18 looking down low, and he's going to hold it right there. And oh, so close and around the outside. They're still side by side. Beautiful fight right here. Phil Waller able to hold it around the outside of Christian Glamsetter. I thought Glamsetter had it in that Racing Forces car, but Phil Waller holding his own, and elbows are really out right here in this fight for 12th place. We have a great view from Richard Van Veen.
It's one of the sort of the most aggressive iGPFun races I've seen in a long time. Oulton
Welcome
Park.
to Oulton Park.
It is welcome to Oulton Park. That's Waller going very wide through Cascades. He's going to be on the back foot as we head towards the King. Glamsetter take that position back, but while they're squabbling, McIntyre Jones is just running away with this. The gap is now up to 3.7 seconds. Will McIntyre Jones up 9 positions from where he started. He's one of our highest riders in the grid. That award goes to Patrick Rowlands. He's up 14 places from his starting position. Richard Van Veen coming under pressure from Zoltan Zomotor at the moment. Let's hope we don't see any more fireworks into Knickerbook.
Van Veen, here we go. Van Veen under pressure. Here comes Zoltan Zomotor. Van Veen's gone wide! And he's kept it out of the wall, but watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! Oh, no!
That's going to be a bigger one. This is going to be, he needs to keep it to the outside of the track. He cannot rejoin.
Stu Millen and Richard Van Veen. Van Veen goes wide, rejoins the track into Stuart Millen, and they make contact right there. Unfortunate, and almost another incident as well with Van Veen keeping it in the wall, as this is Robert Ridgway as under pressure from Zoltan Zomotor on the back of Robert Ridgway, who was in the gearbox right there, but Robert is able to hold his own heading through turns 1, 2, and 3. This opening sector at Oulton Park is such fun in these cars because you can just maximize each of the corner, maybe extend turn 1 a little bit too far at times, and it's just you just want to maximize the car. You get a sealed car moving under you. It's a very good challenge. Lucas Marug's been having an up and down day. Here's Tony Jimenez. Oh, he's cleared him on the straightaway.
One of the most the most successful pass we've seen into Knickerbook so far today. Lucas Marug trying to get back past Tony Jimenez. Can't do anything about it through a little bit of a switchback. I think you're right, but
he's got the speed.
Picks up so much understeer.
He's got the speed. Here comes Lucas Marug onto the inside. The Digital Apex driver taking it to Tony Jimenez. Side by side they go down to the inside. Lucas Marug. And you see Tony Jimenez trying to keep that car under him as it was just jiggling and wiggling around. As right behind him, well, it's Timu time. Timu's looking for 7th.
Can't find a way past into turn 1, but that's very wide from Jimenez. That's going to really allow Timu to now catch up and maybe make a pass into Cascades or turn 3, but be a brave driver to go around the outside, or in fact the inside of turn 3. But now look at this, you set Tony Jimenez up for the straight. You don't really see anybody making a move into turn 4, but now you can dive into Shell Oil's corner if you're feeling particularly racy. And
Timu is looking for but he's got to make this exit count. We can see the car just wiggling off the exit, and he's not going to be getting the drive out of the corner as Tony Jimenez is going to start driving away and getting the draft of Lucas Marug. So there's going to be another lap for Timu Milikongas unable to be making that overtake unless they get it better. But he's got wide, that's too much speed, it's there, but he's kept his foot in it and gone to the grass. There's Darren Woldson just scooting on by, but Timu, oh my goodness, able to keep that car pretty much planted to the ground. Oh, right there! Into the wall goes Timu!
huge accident today. I'm so glad that we are watching a sim race rather than a real race, because these are some absolutely major accidents. Timu
Watch
just
this car
wrong-footed.
shoot across the track and hit the wall. This is a violent impact. Just takes the wall, then bam.
Didn't even hit I think he hit just before where the tire barriers start. So that's worst case scenario. I think
A tiny little carbon fiber piece is all screamed out in pain.
well, we definitely heard the sound of carbon fiber bending. That is for sure.
Yes.
Let's have a look at.
It was a very big disturbance of the force. I will say that.
Alessandro Romanelli in 4th place at the moment, with Lung behind him in 5th. Romanelli up 5 places from where he started. Great job by the Swiss driver. We have a look. This is Clark Williams. He's got Patrick Rowland, I do apologise, and Clevens Pergengraber Goober, again, do apologise, up ahead of him. Clark Williams, the master of overtaking at Tsunomi. He did a great job, the 98 car.
Lung is under pressure. Lung and Marik and Romanelli are all in a 3-way fight right now. Lung has had a little bit of an issue as we are looking at this 3-way fight. Clemson, Pergengraber leading out Patrick Wilson and Clark Williams as they head through that corner pretty nicely. There he goes, Clark Williams going down to the inside. Gets soiled off onto the grass, turned into a lawnmower right there. It's all about picking and choosing where you want to go right here, because pretty much everywhere you want to go is also the racing line. But here comes Clark Williams. Williams looking down to the inside, side by side they go. He's not going to be sending it in there, as that's around the outside. A big send on the outside by Patrick Williams, but he was able to get it slowed down around the outside, leaving the space down to the inside. Let's go up to our fight for the lead. Jerome Lamley and Connor Wagner leading out the race right here ahead of Nicholas Westman, Alessandro Romanelli. Lucas Maruk able to get the overtake on Li Ho-Yin Lung, who's just fallen down to 6th place.
Do we think that Li Ho-Ying has got some form of damage after that contact? Because his pace has been nowhere near the pace that he was showing before the contact. That's very wide from our race leader, Jerome Lamey, really finding the extremities of the track at Knickerbrook. Wagner is just looking so much more confident at the moment. But we've seen this track bites hard when it bites, and I don't think any of these drivers are safe as we have a look at Phil Waller and Glamstetter. Glamstetter to the inside, taking the grass on the inside.
Oh, Lung has had an issue. Lung has had an issue. He's off the track and he is in the wall somewhere. I think he's in the
smoke.
He's towed. He's towed. Li Ho-Yin Lung is towed and in the pit lane. What has happened to Leo right here?
So this is coming up to the Druids Complex. Turn 15 if you're on the full circuit.
He touched the grass on the entry and just unable to control himself and into the wall. That's a broken wing.
It is. That's race over. I'm sure he'd have suspension damage as well. As actually you can see that the rear right of his car is off the...
It's absolutely straight. He's going to have a fast repair, though, to repair that car. It will be a short tow, but, you know, knowing most of these really competitive guys, they get a damage in the front, they probably already thrown the table and just gone off to just do something else. We've seen it time and time at times, but, you know, we could see them rejoin the track right here. But at this very tight and small track, I would say the more traffic would be the worst, because it would just be constant flags.
So I'm actually going to disagree with you there, because we've had a lot of people that have been off the track at some point. I mean, the drivers who are not on the lead lap, we have Sam Hermer, Richard Van Veen, Luedo, Talisman, Dennis, Flint, Gracie. They are all still driving around in some capacity. So lots of drivers are deciding to go out there and continue to race. This is Clark Williams and Rowland's getting so close to contact into Knickerbrook corner, but Williams is finally ahead of his fellow countryman Patrick Rowlands, and now what can he do? Richie Robinson in the background looking, actually no, that's a lap down car, I do apologise. Richie Robinson's a few seconds off this battle. That's one of the Racing Forces driver. I think there might actually be one. It's Adam Talsma. Yeah. So Talsma, after having that massive accident on that one,
he's still back out. And Nicholas Westman has had an issue. Westman is out.
So what has happened to Nicholas Westman? He's jumped to the pits. He is out, or at least, and Franchica as well as come up on our timing screen.
Coming out of turn 1, entering turn 3. Did it just catch the grass off the exit and get shot down towards the inside? Yes, It is. Boom.
I don't think we've ever seen this much destruction of Formula 3 cars in an iGPFun race before, and these are not minor incidents. These are full, all four wheels.
Nasty incidents, and honestly, the last time I've seen this amount of destruction on on a Sunday. It was a pay-per-view night and Hell in a Cell.
I concur, and I certainly know what you're talking about, Austin. Is Darren Rowlandson at the moment catching up to Alistair Hay? This is a battle to watch, and it's a battle to survive. Everybody out there just needs to back off the pace just a little bit. We need to get to the end where, how many drivers have not been into the pits? I mean, Clark Williams, sorry,
23. No, 22 cars have not gone into the pit lane yet. So almost half the field has been involved in it in an incident, have gone to the pits.
So I've just noticed that Clark Williams, our 17th place driver, the 98 car who we've been seeing making those moves, he's been into the pits at some point. So that just goes to show
lap
the
one
craziness of this race.
Yeah, lap one, he went into the pits. Yeah, at the opening lap, I think he, he just had a little bit of an incident, but Clark Williams up into 17th, and Turn 1 always gets me. I know it has the cobblestones on the outside, and it has a little bit of grip out there, but it's always so scary. But Oulton Park is such a aggressive track, and everyone drives here like, well, they're the latest Formula Regional hotshot around here, and it can get pretty nasty. But I would say it's the go-kart track of iRacing at times.
That's why I absolutely adore Oulton Park. It reminds me a lot of Brands Hatch in Donington. It's like the two tracks have been merged into one, and it's just created this sublime racetrack. I don't think many of the drivers will be echoing my sentiments though after the race. It's been such a difficult race, and actually if you look at the field spread, Tony Jimenez is in 5th place but 12 seconds off the lead, which is currently held by Jerome Lamy, although Conor Wagner slowly decreasing that gap a little by little every lap. Just every little bit counts, and Wagner is looking quicker, and Jerome Lamy looking like he's under pressure. Every time we look at him, we ride on board with him or get an off-board shot, he's just pushing. You can just tell he's pushing a little bit too much. He just doesn't have the pace. Wagner is looking in a really good position. Zamota just outside the top 10, looking to try and get past Glamsetter. He would have seen Phil Waller do that a few laps ago. He knows where Glamsetter maybe isn't as strong in terms of his defensive skills. So Zamota has an idea. He just needs to put it all into practice. But Glamsetter getting, annoyingly, for Zamota, getting the slipstream from Waller. So Glamsetter is looking like he's got that 10th place in hand for now. But watch out for Zoltan Zamota. He is such a good overtaker. I think fireworks are going to fly.
Yeah, fireworks are going to fly very soon as chat is praising Jerome Lanley. Matthew Brewer saying Jerome Lanley is Prince of Oulton Park. Well, they said it, and I'm guessing it's official. Prince Jerome Lanley. Okay, we're gonna have to work on that nickname. I'm not sure I'm comfortable from saying that. As Zoltan Zolbar just getting a little bit wide, and I think that was all 4 wheels in the grass right there, and he didn't lose a single bit of time to Christian Glancetter, as up ahead, Phil Waller was way sideways off the exit.
Dalton Zamota had under 0 every conceivable point of the lap. We've been riding on board with him. Looks a little bit more tamed through turn 1. In fact, I think he was anticipating more understeer. He just didn't use any of the outside curb as we rejoin our battle for the lead. Wagner chasing the Prince of Oulton Park. But I have to say, we might have to... Is there a way to get rid of a prince, or to like change hands? Is it
assassination?
Is it an elected role? Because Wagner is looking like he is the quickest driver, or quicker driver at the moment, at least in this phase of the race. Wagner stalking the back of Jerome Lamy's 16 car as we head into Druids Corner, one of my absolute favourite corners on any form of racetrack. Now into Lodge Corner. I don't think many people enjoy this corner. It's off camber, it's so difficult to get the brake and say, right, it drops away. You rise over this hill before dropping down again. It makes traction so difficult. Wagner, he looks like, he's in the slipstream. He just can't get past. But again, Jerome Lamy using the grass on the entrance to turn 1. That's not going to be helping him. It's going to be, introducing a little bit too much oversteer into the car, taking the grass again into turn 3. Jerome Lamy looks like he's under pressure.
Yeah, Lanley using all the track from the charging Conor Wagner. It is the Prince versus the American right here at Oulton Park. 1 versus 2. Delta Sport versus Year 1 right now, and it's actually the Delta Sport U4K car versus the UK base here, one team, and here comes Connor Wagner. Wagner got a great run through the shell was corner. Wagner's got a nose ahead, heading into Neckerbach. He's full Carly man, taking the lead. It is Connor Wagner back into first place.
Wagner just struck when he needed to. He saw that Jerome Lamy had a difficult exit onto the back straight, knew that that was his opportunity. He did it perfectly, and actually you have to commend Jerome Lamy for being able just to see that Wagner was simply going to get ahead and not to force the issue through knickerbockers like we've seen other drivers do. Glamsetter catching up to Phil Waller now. I was saying that Zamota and Glamsetter were close, but actually Glamsetter starting to extend his gap to the 11th place driver and starting to gain on Phil Waller in 9th. So this battle's certainly not over in any capacity. We've had more people ending up in the barriers. Ben Guilletti, I think, has had some form of issue out on circuit, as well as driving. It's Bill Cyrinek as well. So drivers are really struggling with this circuit. I wouldn't count out one of our top 3, or I think we're going to see a shock. That's my prediction. There's going to be a shock at the top of the field that's going to change the race entirely.
All right, so Sebastian woke up today and chose murder. I woke up today and chose I'm going to enjoy some fantastic iGPFun racing here, presented by Sim Racing Pro. As here comes Lamley. Lamley looking down to the inside, side by side they go, down to the inside. The Prince takes back the throne as Waller and Zoman are off the track in the background. Waller is still off the track. Waller is in the wall.
Oh, Phil Waller. Well, I said that we're going to see drama in the top positions. I didn't specify what I deemed to be the top position, so I'm gonna take that. Phil Waller oversteering through the corner, and then what's going to happen is he's just going to try and force the issue into turn 4. Oh, it's going to be contact.
He's been overtaken and contact pushed off. Who was that?
That must have been Zoltan Zamota, because Zamota's dropping down the order. He's in 11th place as well now. I think it was.
Yeah, I think that is Zomotor who looked down to the inside right there at the kink. I'd say that's one of the more trickier places to overtake. Phil Waller is still in his car. He hasn't gone into the pit lane. He's probably he's probably messaging Zoltan Zomer about that issue. It just probably can't believe. Yeah, he's still right there.
Do we need to send medical help to Phil Waller? Because yeah, he's still parked up at the side of the road. Maybe he's just going to watch the race from there and hope that nobody ends up finding him.
Is it going to be pulling a Robin Gordon and hunting him down and throwing a helmet at them?
I mean, I think if that was a feature in iRacing, it would be used quite...
It would be used a lot.
It would be. There'd be many helmets thrown. Andy Flynn in 28th place, making a move on Killen Richie Robinson. Richie Robinson decides to take the very adventurous line through turn 1. I think all 4 wheels and more off the circuit. And Phil Waller is still on the outside. If we could just hold on board or this off-board shot with Andy Flynn, we're going to see him on the exit of the kick.
We're just going to be seeing the roll hoop of Phil Waller. Andy Flynn! Richie Robson's off of the grass, and I think Richie Robson almost makes contact with Phil Waller, and he makes contact with Dennis! Dennis on the outside! Gets pushed out wide at Shell Oil's corner, and around goes Dennis. And Phil Waller has started to move again, by the way.
How is he moving? I thought the 4 wheels of his car were firmly detached, I should say, from the chassis.
No.
There he is. He's still there. We can just see the little roll hoop of Phil Waller. I mean, you could make this race up. I mean, I don't think I've ever known a crazier iGPFun race. We've got Robert Ridgway at the moment. He's up.
19 cars have not gone into the pit lane.
Man, that's an incredible stat. I mean, that's over half of the cars on the grid that at some point had to visit the pit lane for damage. You don't need to change tyres. You don't need to refuel. It's all about damage. Robert Ridgway in 10th place. He's up 14 places. But Patrick Olsen is up 20 places from where he started. He's our biggest gainer on the grid. I mean, guys, I'm speechless, Austin. I'm absolutely speechless. And I think this race has got more to deliver yet. Robert Ridgway still trying to catch Glamsetter. The gap is about 4 seconds. Going to be a tall order that, but I think it's possible in this race at Oulton Park here today. Jimenez, so much oversteer on the exit of the final corner. He's now going to come under pressure from Alistair Hay, but Alistair Hay doesn't really force the issue. Almost looks like he's cooling his car down. Maybe Hay is feeling the heat like we all are in the UK at the moment. Hay running very wide through turn 1. I would not like to be a steward after this race.
And we go to our lead, a big lockup for Lamley. Lamley under pressure by Connor Wagner. Wagner getting a good run. Lamley after that big lockup, and Shell Oil's going to be defending down to the inside. But here comes Connor Wagner. Wagner getting into the draft, looking onto the outside right now. It's a drag race heading into Knickerbock corner. Wagner giving a nose ahead. It's going to be tight. He's going to get onto the brakes early, and that's going to give the place back to Lamley. Oh, this fight between these two is an epic fight indeed. They're going to start entering into some of this traffic right now. Other fights going on through the field is Clark Williams and Nick Carty. Williams gets ahead of Carty before the King right there. Carty decides to back away. Just going through side by side through the King is not advised. Phil Waller is in the pit lane, so we don't have the shot of Phil Waller's camera just peeking over the barriers. So luckily for us and luckily for Phil Waller's car, that is able to be rejoined, and we now know that Phil Waller is okay.
If this was Formula 1, I'm sure we'd be seeing all the replays now, but thank God for sim racing, because we don't have to worry about any drivers being seriously injured, because I think there'd be a stream of ambulances leaving the Oulton Park track after this one.
Besides broken wrists or tweaked wrists from direct drive wheels, I do not know of any other sim racing related injuries.
Egos as well. Bruce egos certainly quite. I mean, they are real. I mean, that really hurts. And yeah, I think we're going to be seeing lots of those. We need a Bruce ego clinic.
If you're under 2,000 iRating, it doesn't exist.
What has happened to Atoa? He was. Sorry to sort of derail you, Austin, and go back on topic, because this race has been absolutely crazy. What was Atoa doing there? He was sort of letting Carty pass.
Wagner getting a good run on Lamley. Wagner trying to look for the switchback right there, but the Prince able to hold him off, as these two are inseparable right now. Wagner putting pressure on Lamley. Wagner looking onto the outside. Lamley defending onto the inside. Wagner looking for another switchback. Lamley defending onto the inside. That's going to be hurting up the tires. Here comes Connor Wagner. Wagner getting a good run. Lamley defending all the way down to the inside. They're going to be side by side entering turn one. Once again, Wagner early on the brakes. Lamley getting forward, well, just going for it, as Connor Wagner is just watching this happen, as this is Kuchi Aito. Aito has had an issue entering turn one.
So is this when he let everybody by? No, so this is the next lap. So Itoa not having a fun time through turn one. Very wide there. Clark Williams, I think, has had some form of crash. I think that might have been with Potapenko. So Itoa just, I'm not quite sure what's going on. The curious case of Itoa's race, I think, is one to investigate further. Connor Wagner still in second place. The gap is now under 0.2 of a second. Lamey was so good and so committed in diving to the inside when they were side by side.
He's hit the inside curve. Lamey's hit the inside curve entering Knickerbock corner, and Connor Wagner takes the lead. Lamley sent it into the corner. There's a bump on the inside that upset the car, that sent him wide just a little bit. Lamley is still in this race. Connor Wagner now, he's just trying to put the pressure and pull away from Lamley and get out of that draft race. He's putting a lot of pressure on his tires as well, as he's gone wide in the corner and wide again in that final corner right now. Here's Punson Gruber putting pressure on Kuchi Aito.
Yeah, what is happening to Atoa? Well, anyway, so we've got number 82 car trying to catch up to the Japanese driver, and this is what happened to Jerome Lamey. I'm interested to see this. Was it the bump, or was it just a case of just too much speed? So he's going to the inside, he's defending.
Watch this, boom. He just hits that inside curve, and you see it just push up the car just a little bit and pushed him out wide.
I think he was lucky to not hit the wall there. We've seen so many drivers just take too much speed in there, too much ambition, and you end up really reaping the harmful effects. Oh, that's that's going to be contact. He's just managed to avoid it. I get scared now when we see cars spearing across the track. So many rejoin incidents we've had in today's race. Potapenko now moves up into 14th place. Phil Waller has had another crash, according to
Jimenez and Hay have swapped spots. Hay gets ahead of Jimenez, and I think Jimenez might have had a little bit of issue entering Shell Oil's corner, because he is miles behind of Alistair Hay now. And this is the Ho-Yin Lung side by side with Ben Bietti. And Ben just holds it around the outside of Leo, who has been, well, I would say, be on the naughty list of a few drivers here today.
Oh, that's a huge snap of oversteer on the exit of the final corner for Li Ho Ying, though. That's not going to help his case at all. And that Sam Hermer in the background as well. All of these cars, they're a lap down from the leader, but they are all in the battle. The 3 cars that you see on the screen at the moment are battling out.
Was because of Leo. Remember that. He went wide. There might have been a little bit of neck or just a little bit. And Server is hitting Leo. And they've taken each other out. Off into the grass. Leo's been bumped by Hermer and spinning in the grass.
It's unusual to see Sam Hermer involved in 2 accidents. Now, let's just hope that Liho Ying can rejoin the track with some less incidents that we've seen from other drivers today. Roman Neely now in 3rd place. Lamy and Wagner battling it out. What happened there?
They're still battling it out. Lamley and Wagner inseparable right now.
They are. So I think they must have had a little bit of a scrap into Knickerbrook corner. It's still Phil Wagner that leads the race. Lamy's got so much speed. First wide from Wagner. That's going to be really, really a good opportunity for Jerome Lamy.
Lamley gets a good run. Connor Wagner went a little bit wide. He locked up the brakes coming out of the final corner. And here comes Jerome Lamley. Lamley drag racing Connor Wagner to the line. They're side by side. Connor Wagner is just holding it to the outside of the track. Lamley onto the inside. Side by side they go into turn 1. Wagner is going to be tapping the brakes just a little bit more than Jerome Lamley. Lamley retakes the lead. Both of them actually stayed within track limits at turn 1, which is something I have not seen in a long time from these two.
I don't think I've ever seen any driver manage to make turn 1 without getting a 1x today, or in fact ever. I mean, I'm very much guilty of doing the same thing. I think Wagner is expecting Jerome Lamy to be slower at the apex. He's trying to get the over-under. He's trying to sort of allow Jerome Lamy to outbreak himself. But
the draft through here is really key, and that's what Connor Wagner and Jerome Lamy have been benefiting off of. Every overtake that we've seen, every fight that we've seen has been revolving around the run-up into Knickerbrook corner. Jerome Lamley, Connor Wagner, here we go once again. Connor Wagner onto the outside. Connor Wagner's got a car and a half length there. They're still side by side. Wagner gets pushed out just a little bit wide, and Jerome Lamley able to hold off Connor Wagner. But they are still in this fight. Lamley defending down to the inside. Connor Wagner looking for that side switchback right now through this flying right-hander. And let's right on board Jerome Lamley looking back at Connor Wagner right now. Wagner is not close enough for that final corner right here, but he could be getting a good run. You can see both of them using that curve on the inside, and just it can help you out, but it can also hurt you if you aren't careful. But both these drivers are doing very good jobs. 10 laps to go here at Oulton Park on this beautiful Sunday afternoon here in iGP Fun.
I don't think I can take 10 more laps. I really don't think I can. I think I might collapse by the end of this race. Has been the excitement. Jerome Lamy wide on the exit of Cascades, but so was Wagner. They are both pushing the absolute limits of their Formula 3 machinery. Who is going to come out on top? Who is going to be? Is it going to be Lamy? Is it going to be Wagner? Or is Romanili just sort of the dark horse in this race, and he's towing along Maruk as well? This race is certainly wide open. I think that's Frankie Francica having an issue. He's towed back to the pit, so his race has gone from bad to worse. Oh, they're on the grass!
Whoa, Connor Wagner looking all the way down to the inside and getting a little bit too much in there. And hitting up a little bit of grass right there as everybody having a little bit of action behind him. Maruk and Romanelli swapping spots with each other.
They need to just calm down. They need to focus on the bigger prize here, and that prize is they could be battling for the lead fairly soon if Lamy and Wagner continue to do these shenanigans into Knickerbrook, driving onto the grass. There is a real chance that they could be up there.
I don't think they care.
I think they need to care. They have to look at the bigger picture here. Lucas Maruk is our championship leader. He needs to think about the points. We've seen how dangerous this track could be, but I think you're right. I don't think they care. I don't think that... But I think they should. I think that's what my saying is. Quinton Guber at the moment now trying to get past Podopenko. I think Podopenko is carrying a little bit of damage from the incident I think that he had with Clark Williams earlier on in this race. So might be an easy overtake for the 15 car, but what a race. I mean, I'm losing my breath at the moment, Austin, and we've still got 9 laps to go.
You think my life's sorry? Is this Nick Carney? Carney getting caught off into the grass right now. Here comes Kudgano. Carney defending all the way down to the inside. Ido looking down to the inside right now. Carney defending onto the outside. Here comes Ido sending it down to the inside and into turn 1 in. Ido able to hold it off and give a little bumper block right there. But Carney, he took the wider line. He's going to be going for that outside space. But here comes Vincenzev, Podopenko, and Clemens Punzengruber right behind him. And now we got a 4-car fight right now all the way for 12th place. Ido, Carney, Podopenko, Punzengruber. nose to tail, 4 cars deep, and I'm having a blast right now. Heading into the Shell Oils corner, Cardi is right behind the 146 of Ido. Ido locking up the tires just a little bit. We've seen a lot of drivers lock up, and Podopenko under pressure by Punzengruber going on to the outside of Podopenko. He's going to be getting the draft of Cardi right now. Podopenko and Punzengruber going to have a drag race. Podopenko is on the inside, Punzengruber onto the outside. Punzengruber round the outside and into fourth, but into the grass.
How did he manage to stay in a straight line? He almost took flight. Did Punzengruber there, the 82 car. Congratulations, sir. That was one of the saves of the race. I mean, Knickerbrook is proving to be so deadly for almost everybody involved. I think if you spoke to all of the drivers after the race, I think they could recall at least one experience where they've ended up having, you know, a scary moment, a heart-in-mouth moment through Knickerbrook corner. But Punzengruber now up in to 14th place. Jerome Lamy defending once again from the for the race lead, I should say. Wagner in second place. Wagner, they just look so similar on pace. It's going to be a coin toss, I think, who is going to get the race win here today. But Wagner looking very, very quick through Druitt's corner. That's setting him up very nicely as we head into Lodge corner. But I was explaining earlier in the race, it's so hard to get the power down here. They look fairly even on their exits, and I think that's sort of what Wagner's running into at the moment, is that they're so close on pace that Wagner just doesn't have an advantage really anywhere that he's discernibly quicker than Jerome Lamy in the lead. They must have, I don't think at any point that these two have run more than a second apart from each other. Absolutely incredible driving.
It's been a very fantastic drive between them. I think the biggest gap was at the start, and when Jerome Lamy went off into the grass, but that gap was just separated about like 7/10 at most between Connor Wagner and Philip and Jerome Lamy as they continue on once more, separated by 3/10. I believe Connor Wagner will be getting a very fantastic run, but last lap, it was the fastest lap for Jerome Lamy, as it is a drag race onto the front straight. Connor Wagner looking down to the inside now. Heading into Neckerbach corner, and he's going for it, and Wagner, your new leader of the race.
That was dedication, that was determination. It certainly worked out for the American driver. Superb move, and now Clark Williams and Podopenko round 2. Clark Williams now trying to get past Podopenko once again. Podopenko runs wide through turn 3. That's going to open him up towards turn 4, the kink, but Clark Williams chooses better, thinks better, decides not to make the move. Does he have a look into Shell Oil's corner? Once again, Clark Williams just waiting for the back straight, and now we're going to see another dive to the inside into Knickerbrook corner. Are they both going to survive? Are they both going to end up in the grass, or is it going to be somewhere in the middle? Austin, I don't think I can call it at this point. Who knows what's going to happen?
Podopenko's defending onto the inside. Williams looking onto the outside. Williams getting into the grass a little bit, but Podopenko's sending it down to the inside. And, ooh, leaving a little bit of space on the outside right there, but getting a little spicy off that exit right now, as the gap between Lamy and Wagner is separated by a 10th between each other. I don't want to go back. I just honestly just want to keep. And Lamy is actually falling away from Wagner. Jerome Lamy, half a second behind Wagner. They were a 10th next to each other heading through Shell Oil's corner, so I think Lamy has had a little bit of an issue off the exit of Shell Oils.
And Flint as well, another driver to have an issue. He's jumped to the pit, so is actually Sam Hermer a few laps ago, so it's all going on while we are watching the battle for P1. I think you're right, Jerome Lamy has had some form of issue, but it doesn't seem to have faced him at all, still within that half a second.
It was just a little momentary issue, but he's going to need to claw that back. 5 laps to go between Wagner and Lamy here at Oulton Park. And I am so excited. It's a new last lap for Lamy, for Jerome, was the fastest lap of the race. So I'm actually very surprised, but I think that was the lap before, because the last lap he actually did was invalidated, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure of what our timing tower is telling us there, because it does look like Jerome Lamy had a very, very quick lap, but I'm not sure.
What happened to Jerome? I think this is what's going to really clear up the story, what happened between them. You see, they're very close right there. And I think he's just caught the grass. Yes, he did. Woo! Well, that will make you sweat at night.
Let's have a look and see what else happened to Jerome Lamy. So this is on the start-finish straight, heading towards turn 1. catches a little bit of grass on the outside. You actually see
Inside, then the outside. And
the outside, inside, outside, probably a little bit of inside. I think these drivers have driven more on the grass than they have on the track. Atoa and Putin Gruber, though, still having a battle. Atoa not able to muster any sort of straight line speed defense. So Putin Gruber now up into 12th place, but he has got a 13-second gap, sorry, to Zamotor ahead. Podopenko and Williams still battling it out as well. Williams is off the track. I think Clark Williams has had an issue. Yes, he has. That's at Shell Oil's corner, turn 5.
He's going to be sitting duck to. He's going to be sitting duck to Patrick Rowlands on that straightaway. As here is Clark Williams. I feel like there's going to be a lockup involved right here.
Nope.
Oh, yeah. Well, the back end of the car rotated around, just carried too much mustard into the Shell Oil's corner.
Yeah, Clark Williams, he was having such a good race, and it's all unraveled for him in the last few laps. The same, to be honest, can be said for Jerome Lamy leading the race, but now the gap is up to almost a second, and if he loses that second gap, he loses the slipstream, he loses any benefit that he had, and I think if that happens, Wagner, it's his race to lose at that point. Romanili and Maruk still fairly close on track. The gap is about 0.8 of a second at the moment, almost extending now to a full second, so it's looking like our top 3 just settling down for the moment. 4 laps to go, anything could happen, anything will happen. Clark Williams, I think, again, has had some form of issue out on track. That might have been a previous message just popping up on my screen. Podopenko now up to 15th place. He's carrying damage. Actually, Jerome Lamy last lap. Look at Jerome Lamy's last lap.
16.92. Invalidated last time because that would be the fastest lap of the race, but is definitely invalidated. And also Connor Wagner invalidated last time of a 17.17. Alessandro Romanelli fast lap of the race, but I feel like all the top drivers are now just putting their X's where they can count it right now, as they are pushing the track limits to no ends barred and are going for, well, just going for the win, going for the gap, and not caring about the incidents right now. There is a drive-through penalty here, but I believe they've been just looking at their incidents and it's like, I can accept the track right here. I can go for it.
And you often see the top drivers do that. They know when they can use the 1Xs. I mean, iGPFun does have rules against that.
The incident count is every 40, so they have a lot to play with.
We have seen quite a lot of incidents, though. I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing some drivers getting relatively close to that. I mean, we've had, one car contact is 4 incident points to that. If you get that 10 times, you're over the limit, and it feels like some of these drivers have been involved.
If you get 10 car contacts in an open wheel car, your car is going to be, well, it's going to be looking worse than the dumpster outside the back of Barney's barn that was set on fire last week.
But, I mean, you have watched the same race as I have, Austin, haven't you?
Yes, I'm watching the same race. I'm pretty sure one car has not had that many incidents.
I think I'm going to bet against it. I feel like there's probably some cars that they've had. Of course, you do have a fast repair. You come to the pits, repair your car, and go again for round 2 of the bumper car edition of the iGPFun race. I think if you have managed to get 10 car contacts.
I don't want to see the bumper car iGPFun.
Well, I think we're seeing it today, Austin, unfortunately. I mean, iGPFun normally so clean, but today...
Clean, new fast lap of the race, 1:16.82, Lamley.
He's certainly going quick, but actually, Connor Wagner responded. He was only a 10th slower than Jerome Lamy on that last lap, and Wagner's first lap time below a 1:17, 1:16.93 for the race leader, and he's now going to come across the line. He sees the white flag fly. He knows he's got one more tour of the Oulton Park circuit to do if he wants to win this race. Jerome Lamy, though, really looking aggressive through turn 1. So far off the track, he was almost in Hampshire.
You see how wild Jerome was into turn 1, and that just shows you how much this race means to the Prince of Oulton Park. Well, the crowd-given name of the Prince of Oulton Park, as Lamley and Wagner race it out right here. 1 lap to go. There's 6/10 separating them, and Jerome is going to be sending it through the Shell Oil's corner right now. He's 6/10 behind him. he can be using that draft and be able to catch up in the closing amounts of this track. He's not going to be at Knickerbock Corner, but here is Jerome Lamley. He is still within attacking distance of Connor Wagner. He's just got to nail the ending of this circuit. 4/10 separate them right there. He's taking a lot of grass on the outside. Just 3 corners to go separates them right now. Here we go. Connor Wagner. I feel like Connor's is taking this a little bit easier than Jerome Lamley. Lamley has got everything to lose for 1 corner to go. This is not going to be an attack right there for Jerome Lamley. Somebody is spun in the background. Connor Wagner, 1 corner. He's dipped the wheel in the grass, and it's going to be Connor Wagner taking the win here at Oulton Park, just 3/10 ahead of Jerome Lamley.
After all of that, our top 2 finish in the same order they started, but that does not tell any near the story of the race. Romanelli's going to come across the line in 3rd place if he can manage to get to the line. I thought he was going to end up in the barriers before he'd end up across the line. Right, some celebration there from Romanelli. Deserved a great 3rd place from him, up 6 places, but we still have battling in the background. This is Carty and Itoa battling it out.
Yeah, Ido and versus Carty. Ido was able to lead out Carty, exiting Knickerbock Corner and entering the final few corners a little bit closer than they were of the leaders. And Ido's also chasing down Punzengruber up ahead. But they are separated enough to keep their spots unless something happens off the exit, but they all keep their heads right there. Clark Williams and Potapenko. Potapenko leading out Williams right now. Potapenko getting out a little bit wide, but Potapenko always got to exit a little bit slow, but Williams unable to capitalize off of Potapenko. Potapenko finishes in 15th, Williams in 16th, and Patrick Rollins in 17th, as 18th has already finished behind the leader, as everybody has come across the line. Oh boy, how do we sum this race up? We've had 17 cars not going to the pits, a knockout fight, a very clean knockout fight for the lead between Connor Wagner and Jerome Lamley. Chargers throughout the field, contact throughout the field. Patrick Olson up 20 spots from starting last in the grid. Sebastian, I'm just gonna let you read through the results right here because wow.
Wow, indeed. Connor Wagner is your race winner. Jerome Lamley in 2nd place, 4/10 of a second, separating your top 2. Romanelli comes home to round out your podium with our championship leader, Lucas Maruk, just outside the podium. He's in 4th place. Great point for him today. Alistair Hay, 5th. Will McIntyre Jones in 6th. He's up 14 places from where he started. Tony Jimenez, 7th. Darren Rowlandson in 8th. Christian Glamsetter comes home in 9th place, and Robert Ridgway up 14 places. He rounds out your top 10. We have Zoltan Zamota in 11th, with Putin Gruber in 12th, with Kachoa Itoa in 13th place, with Carty right behind him in 14th. Potapenko is 15th, with Clark Williams, who has been behind Potapenko I think 3 times. That would have been the 3rd time of Clark Williams trying to get past Potapenko, but he was unable to do it. Williams in 16th place, with Patrick Rowlands in 17th, and our final driver on the lead lap, Olsen in 18th place. Liho Ying Lung, to apologise for my butchering of his name and your name today. He's 19th place. He's been into the pits. He was involved in that mega accident that we saw at Knickerbrook, one of the first incidents, certainly not the last today. Luedo in 20th, Ben Guilletti 21st, Richard Van Veen 22nd, Bill Sinrique 23rd, with Killer and Richie Robinson in 24th place. Matthew Gracie is 25th, Andy Flynn in 26th place. Sam Hermer, I think one of our first retirements. Andy Flynn, I think, as well, retired from the race. Hermer retired, Franchica retired, Reed Dennis retired, Phil Waller retired in some fashion and stayed on the track for more time than we normally see even a Formula E driver stay on the track after an incident. Adam Towsma 31st, Westman 32nd, Timu 33rd. What a race he could have had for Timu. Was looking so quick but had incidents, and Maranello, yeah, again, sorry for the pronunciation, it's one. Monero, thank you very much. It's been one of those crazy races, my voice is going. Nicole in 35th, Drew Milne 36th, with Murgia 37th, Stephen Ridders 38th, Simone Gabriel 39th, and Rodrigo Duran, our first retiree. They all retired on the first lap. And wow, Austin, what a race. And I just would like to point out, I think that that's not going to be necessarily the final orders for the race. I think the stewards post-race are going to have quite a difficult time working out all of the penalties, because I think that, I mean, we know Luca Varani, one of the league organisers, he's not harsh, but he doesn't like to see races like this where there's lots of contact. So I think an example might be set from this race. So watch for the iGPFun Twitter account just to work out the final results from this race.
That Twitter account's gonna be. Well, I know the iGPFun team loves to put out highlights. They have the overtake of the week. Well, honestly, this entire thing is going to be an overtake of the week, and they're gonna have their work cut out for them on the iGPFun social medias there. So if you're a fan of Twitter and social media and content on there, you can find them on the iGPFun Twitter account. But yeah, next week we head to Red Bull Ring, and it's gonna be. Well, you think this race is a lot of craziness? Red Bull Ring is going to be absolute wild, so stay tuned for that one. Thank you everybody for joining us here for the iGPFun Formula 3 series presented by SRP and Virtual Racing School here on Apex Racing TV. I've been joined by Sebastian Bosher-Williams with Mark Tranter in the production booth. I'm off tonight, and I hope y'all have a good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, You owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.